First, the first panel that we have this morning is on, talking to our institutional members of IIT ACB, and we asked them to present to the IITs the challenges that they face as industry and how the IITs can help them. The whole idea is that after all the other three panels are also done, if we can get the IITs to respond to how this can work, it will give us a way forward to take it to the next level. So without much ado, I'll invite Professor Madhusudan Rao from IIT Delhi, who is the moderator for this industry panel.
Okay, good morning. And I think we are actually starting with more interesting aspect of today's program. Those are 4 panels, starting with an industry panel. And as you know, one of the real mandates of IIT ACB is to also promote interaction between IITs and industries, particularly industry playing very key role in institutional activities, as well as institutions leveraging particularly the intellectual, physical, and other resources from the industry. So what we'll do is we have 4 eminent panelists. I'll actually start with a little introductory remarks and then hand over it to each of them to say a few words, both about their own industry in about 30 seconds, as well as what they have already done, particularly in terms of IITs and other educational institutes, and also what more can be done. And I think that's probably is the real, agenda for today's meeting. So just to give a little context, I think it's important to know where we are in terms of industry-institute interaction before we can even discuss where do you want to actually reach. First thing is IITs are, silence please. Okay. IITs are pretty well known for educational programs, teaching, and undergraduate students' employability all over the world. Now they have also made a mark in terms of knowledge creation activities, in terms of research, or if you look at metrics in terms of publications or citations per faculty, IITs are doing very well. But I think the third pillar, which is more related to knowledge application, is still to catch up. And I think that's where probably industry institute interactions becomes very key, because when we look at all over the world, many of the endeavors where knowledge applications have taken place from universities, industry has been a very integral part of that. So I think we are looking at that. Secondly, there is a very important clue and inputs coming from Mr. Narayan Murthy yesterday. He actually spoke about very interesting examples of individuals and institutions in building a synergy between institute and the industry. And I think we have some learnings from there. And also he did mention that some of the best universities which have done in terms of industry-institute interaction should sometime come to this center, and probably we should have probably a more get-together like this to understand that. I think probably those will happen as we go ahead. But when we actually look at particularly IITs and the kind of activities which are possible with industry, we see a lot of pockets of, you can say, excellence. Like, I'm sure there would be few champions in IITs, either as an individual faculty or individual directors, who have excelled in one aspect of industry-institute interaction. But I think when we look at as a whole, as an ecosystem, we are still, I think we still need to do a lot. And I think there is also a very important thing that we also look beyond IITs and learn from other institutes as well. I'll just give a quick couple of examples. For example, the joint PhD program between industry and institute is not very big in IITs. But I think if you really look at institutes such as UDCT, and they think they have leveraged it very well. In fact, there is a large number of PhDs which happens with an industry, which is actually IITs have to still catch up. Last week I was in ISC for a departmental review. One thing which came up very strongly is that many of the labs are actually now getting a big CSR funding from the industries, which I think still to happen. In fact, it's very interesting to see even the maintenance of the lab and lab equipment coming largely from the CSR funds did not happen earlier, and I think IITs still can leverage. And if you really look at the IISc CSR graph, it's pretty steep, and I think IITs too have a chance to do that. There was another example of a IIT Delhi. IIT Delhi has a department where TCS funds the entire department 4 crore rupees per year. And I think they have been doing it, and they have already a commitment for 7 years, and they want to go even beyond 7 years. So that's another model where I think IITs can even learn from non-IITs, and I think that's one important. And I think if you really want to do industry-institute interaction, we see that there is a lot of structural reforms too are needed. For example, when we look at faculty appraisal system, the interaction with industry component still takes a very small component, and I think that needs to definitely increase. If you give more importance to faculty's activities, like I think Narayan Murthy also mentioned, faculty spending like 30% of the time or 1/3 of the time for industry interaction, and I think that's a great example. And also, we have seen that particularly interaction with industry still is not a major agenda in our departmental meetings. When we meet, we look at curricula, we look at others, but I think increasing synergy with industry has to still come as a part of meeting, and also as a part of institute policies, and also if it can also come in a big way in NIRF ranking frameworks where you have more, you can say, parameters related to industry, that would definitely help. Before I actually kick off and call the speaker, we also thought, since we are doing this meeting, and this is something where I think we have the entire IIT leadership here, we would also like to measure as we go, let's say 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years from now, how well have we done in terms of our interaction. We also need some measures. I thought I'll just put some typical measures which universities would use to enhance the interaction. I've just picked about 10. There may be many more. But it would be good to probably use some of these metrics to see how well are we doing in terms of that. For example, in terms of the number of joint projects which we do, I think percentage is more important. Every institute will have an example of a few projects which happen, but what percentage of our UG, PG, and PhD projects happen with industry would be a good metric. And also, I think it was also mentioned in yesterday's the fireside chat that the faculty spending time in industry. In fact, UK has leveraged this very well. Anybody who spends minimum 2 weeks gets certain points in their appraisal system. And these are called as faculty externships. And I think faculty externships are very much part of their appraisal system. I think we still don't have those. And also in terms of what we come across is many of the industries are looking forward to come to institute and probably looking at the new technology, skilling, and capacity building programs. And there is a huge scope for that. So there are a number of such metrics which are just for food for thought. I think it would be a good looking at 5 years from now, whether we are able to do well in these metrics, etc. So with those introductory remarks, I think I'll invite our first speaker and panelist for today is Mr. Satish. So Satish actually comes from Titan Industries, and he also plays a role of head of innovation and research at Titan. And he has engaged, I think Titan has also been known and for many of the new innovations which they started not only in terms of educational institute engagement, but also in terms of entrepreneurship. And I think it would be, I think, a pleasure to listen to Satish and also see what is his prescription, particularly to engage with the industry in a much better manner.
Quick brief about Titan. We are, of course, in 5 different consumer lifestyle category of businesses. We are present both in India and abroad. We have been operating in about 30 countries as of today. Many of you are aware, we started off with the watches and wearables business. It's almost 3 decades old. Today, this business houses several such brands, both in the premium as well as the mid-market segments. Jewelry, of course, is the largest business of Titan today with several brands under its belt. Eye care, which is definitely a 1,000 crore business today, and we are selling under 2 brands right now, catering to the mid and the premium segment of eye care customers in India. There are 2 new businesses which we have entered in the last 5 years. The Indian ethnic wear business, which is under the brand Tanera, as well as the fragrances and the bags business. Skin is the fragrance brand, and Earth is a recently launched brand for the bags. So this, in nutshell, the overall portfolio, the company has achieved a turnover of around 38,000 crores last year. We have 2.5 lakh crores of market capitalization. Our retail presence is there in over 2,400 stores in India, and of course, with about 10,000 employees on board, plus several others who are working with us as partners and franchisees. For such an organization which is so well focused on the customer behaviors, the market changes, and working on the competitive scenario, the innovation research team at the central corporate level, we work on a very special mandate. We work closely with the businesses in crafting together the innovation portfolio for them. This starts with understanding the business scenario of each of them, understanding their business aspirations, and crafting the business strategy. And that comes out the innovation strategy, which is largely comprising of the wicked challenges the businesses might be facing across the value stream. It's also the opportunities the businesses would like to conquer as they go along. So the central team at the corporate level, which is about 50 members team right now with several centers of excellence, works closely with the businesses in pursuing some of these innovation opportunities. And when it comes to the innovation management cycle, this of course starts with gathering insights, working closely with the business and the stakeholders, thereafter developing solutions. And here comes our partners from the university and academia and research, where we work closely in terms of various open innovation frameworks. And thereafter, we take the solutions to a level of piloting or MVP, and let the businesses do the scaling of these innovations thereafter. So this is, in a nutshell, the innovation management activity we do at the central level. And we also work closely with the leadership in establishing and enabling innovation culture in the company. This may take initiatives in terms of creating capability, driving initiatives to enable an innovation culture in the company, as well as working closely with the businesses in securing the intellectual property rights for the company and spreading the knowledge that's there externally as well as within the company. And all these are closely governed with the governance mechanism as well as with the KPIs that are there for each stages of the activity. When I'm saying as a central team of innovation, we are supported with an illustrious centers of excellence within ourselves. Some of these are in the materials and metal forming area. We have centers of excellence in industrial design and mechanical engineering. We have centers of excellence created around machine sensing and algorithms, where a lot of AI ML initiatives are being undertaken here to digitally enable our value chain. As well as we have in chemical engineering and non-metals, wherein some of the specialty materials as well as nanosciences are being deployed here across the various streams of the businesses. We have the people sensing and algorithms development that comes under the wearables market. I would say this all possible because of the significant investment Titan has made, not just in the retailing front, but across the value stream of the businesses. We are heavily invested in understanding the customers, heavily invested in terms of manufacturing each of these categories of products, designing them, offering them and servicing them thereafter. So we are like, I would say Titan would be a mind to market kind of a setup wherein the opportunities to engage with the external stakeholders are plenty, and therefore the scope for innovations are also numerous as we go along. And while we do this technologically led centers of excellence, we also have the consumer insights and innovations as one of the teams which takes up the customer-centric design, and also we have the business processes innovations which work as an internal consulting group for the company. Beyond these centers of excellence, we are now focusing on driving sustainability practices, be it in products and processes, and as well as working out various energy harnessing strategies. Like each of our product we sell is dependent on several of the electrical energy, the batteries we put in our wearables or in the wristwatches. So we are looking at what are the better ways of harnessing energy, as well as looking at specialty materials. Thanks, Lord. Some of the work we have done in terms of the kind of engagement with the academia. We have a center in IIT Chennai where we work closely in terms of working with the faculties in IIT Chennai. Beyond that, we have been engaging with IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, and we're about 27 projects currently moved from lab POCs till date. About 6 implementation are taken up for the scale up. 11 projects, of course, been worked with several other institutes beyond the IITs. This might include the CSIR laboratories in Bhopal, SRM University, and so on. We have been lucky to have this forum wherein IIT Alumni Center is giving us the opportunity to work with several other IITs here. We have several conversations going on with some of the European and the American universities. Some of the interesting frameworks which we have deployed while working with the academia would probably, of course, I mentioned to you about the incubation hub we have in IIT Research Park in Chennai. Beyond this, we frequently offer the IIT academicians as well as the faculty members to come and share their latest research in terms of tech talks. This happens almost on a monthly basis at our company, and we create a platform for such tech talks. We also have an annual or a once in 2 years, we do something called Technology Tune-In, wherein we handpick about 40 to 50 research proposals across the institutes and provide them a platform to come and demonstrate the work they have done so that the businesses can thereafter take up for several innovations thereafter. We have worked closely with IIT Chennai in creating some of the new training programs. It may be in the space of memory studies recently. Industry walkthroughs are some things we encourage. We let the IIT faculties to come and experience and immerse themselves in the industrial setup within ourselves. Hackathons are something which we have started working. Beyond this, to sustain the momentum with the academia and universities, we have exclusive resources created within our teams who continuously scan the kind of research work happening within the IITs and bring the knowledge back to the businesses to explore it further. So this is in a nutshell the kind of initiatives we have done. While specifically for this session, I have been asked to say a few words about what kind of probably the potential barriers that we might be overcoming going forward. To start with, the key advantages we see as industry working with IITs, of course, many industry-first technologies we are able to access through this alliance we have. Of course, one of the best talent in the country. Familiarity of the domestic and the local cultural market settings is a big thing, which works in favor of the IITs today. And while these are the benefits I'm speaking, some of the barriers I thought which probably needs attention, like we heard the formal mandate for the IITs to collaborate with industry has to be more visible. We still don't feel that the mandate to collaborate with industry is still like we heard it. So therefore, this I would urge you to all to consider, wherein you can bring in as part of your KPIs, the way we work in the industries, that there is a formal mandate for all to collaborate. And opportunities are plenty when we see that. Timelines and agility, of course, this is inherently, the two setups work at different timelines. We have a long-term orientation at the research level, whereas at the industry level, we are very much focused on the short-term implementations of the innovations. So timelines have been an area of focus for us, and we would like to see some of the frameworks that would help us to continue the businesses as usual while we work with the research, and encourage these research works. Of course, recently we have seen the IITs as well as several other universities showing an amazing savviness in terms of the intellectual property protection and as well as the monetization of the intellectual property protection. Somewhere we see the rigidity is emerging, so that it puts a lot of delay in the whole process of generating these innovations out of it. We definitely need an appreciation that invention and innovations, there is a lot of stakeholders involved, there is a lot of efforts that goes behind what the inventions are brought to the market. While these appreciations are there, we would request you to consider some of the easy frameworks that would help us to bring the innovations to the market as early as possible. I would urge in this panel today, if we can get some thoughts and insights, how we can have a very favorable framework that could help us to bring these inventions to the market innovations. So with these 3 words, I thank you all for this opportunity and thanks for this. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Satish, for this thing. We already see that there are 4 IITs in your portfolio, and we expect that soon we'll have 14 or probably all 23 part of the Titan's innovation ecosystem. Next, I'll invite Mr. Datta Kovlekar. Mr. Datta Kovlekar is actually an alumni of IIT Mumbai. He serves on the director as a board of Forbes Marshall, and he is also associated with multiple committees nationally as a member of higher education, particularly with CII, Government of India, and he also actually serves on the boards of many educational institutes. So comes with a lot of experience of industry-institute interaction. I think let's listen to Mr. Datta Kovlekar.
I think it's a very good morning to all of you. Yeah. I think thanks Dr. Rao for introducing me so kindly. This is, I think, a very unique opportunity to have so many IIT directors and IIT professionals and faculty here in one room and to give us a patient listening ear. I mean, that's not happened before. So I think Ashok should be very happy to see this outcome that, they have been able to organize all the IITs to come together on one platform. This has never happened before. So I think this is really unique, and I think we must congratulate IIT ACB and all of you actually to have been kind enough to take your time to be here. So I think this is really, to me, a good forum to exchange ideas, and I think this is really what we'd like to do. I don't have slides, and I won't take you through many slides, but I'll just give you a context of what kind of work we have been doing with various IITs. And in that context, just a little bit about Forbes Marshall. We are almost a 95-year-old company. Yeah? A 95-year-old company can either stagnate and not innovate, or we could innovate and thrive and do better. So we have 2 options before us. And many years back, we discovered that we should innovate and thrive. And for us, academia was one of the key pillars of our innovation system. Yeah? And it helps that our family-owned business is owned by the Forbes family. And Dr. Naushad Forbes, many of you might know him, has been a stellar example of being in academia and also being in industry. And therefore, it brought both the worlds together and gave us the impetus to make sure that we never disconnected from the academia. Yeah? So that is a very strong factor in what pushes us to make sure that our academic connect remains strong and remains continuous and consistent. Yeah? Because we have many examples of industry-institute interaction. I think many seminars happen all over the world, and there's nothing new in industry-academia interaction. It's a well-researched, well-spoken topic. But many years back, we decided that we should probably do more groundwork than more vapor being expelled in many of the seminars. So we said, let's touch base, let's be on the ground, and let's do projects of whatever kind they may be, however small they may be, but do it at the ground level. So that's where the principles of our interaction with academia has always been this, that work on the ground, however small the project is, but make sure the project succeeds and it builds on success and do more projects. So that's what has really propelled us the last, I would say, 30 years. And that's really where we come from. The second factor that I believe that innovation really has helped us is we connect to almost every industry in India. Our business, as you know, is energy efficiency, and it also is in terms of thermal energy efficiency. We visit almost 1,000 plants every day. All our marketing engineers visit 1,000 plants every day, meet 1,000 customers every day, listen to those customers, and get 1,000 problems to solve every day. Yeah? Now, not all of those problems require research or innovation, but some of them do. So much of our innovation really comes from understanding customer needs. And that to me is really a key essence of how we thrive. Understanding customer needs and trying to find solutions or services or products that can help get our customers to improve their own plant efficiency. So our business really has been for the last so many years is energy efficiency, protecting the environment, and of course making sure that the production and the yields are maximized to the maximum possible. So I think it's three-pronged pillar. It's energy efficiency, it is environment, and it is also production, as you'll see. Yeah? So I think this really comes to the point that with these three things, much of our research with IITs has been in that direction. Yeah? Not just IITs, we have worked with many local colleges and many colleges in Tier 2, as you might call them, across, and also with some global institutes that we have worked with. Being in Pune, of course, it helps, and being from IIT Bombay also helps. We did a lot of work with IIT Bombay. As Professor Ravi Goody is here, just last week, we had a workshop with IIT Bombay on Stanford Climate Exchange Workshop, and both these universities we work with actually, yeah, IIT Bombay and Stanford. Actually, that's really where the connect comes from, and it was a workshop on climate change. Not that Forbes Marshall is anyway connected with climate change directly, but one of our focus areas has been sustainability. Yeah, so whether it is energy or environment or emissions, you might call them, sustainability is a key trend that is driving industry. So for us, the entire issue of sustainability in terms of energy efficiency and climate change, as you might call it, and the link with emissions is a very close topic for us. And we have to look at problems that can come in those areas. Yeah? So many years back, as we said, IIT Bombay has been our closest ally for many years. We started with a very simple, program, and that's now been running for last 30 years. Yeah? When I joined Forbes Marshall, and I think Ashok would know this, Naushad had proposed the program with IIT Bombay, and I think Ashok and Naushad worked on that very well, is what we call as the Master's Fellowship Program. Yeah? And that we do every year. Of course, in the COVID years, we had some gap. We'll try to fill that out. But that program has really been one of our key contributors of some of the talent that powers our R&D centers. Yeah? So much of the talent that has come from that program has come from IIT Bombay, the master's program that we had. Of course, we did many more things after that with IIT Bombay. We had a center of excellence for energy efficiency. That's not done that well, I would say. I mean, we would like to do it better, and I'll probably come to why things don't work so well in some of the IITs and some of them do. We can look at that too. But of course, we set up a good center for energy efficiency in IIT Bombay. We also did a lot of work in the area of emissions with some of the optical scientists in IIT Bombay also. We also have worked with the students and faculty members on very small projects in IIT Bombay. So IIT Bombay has been one key ally for us for many, many years. Yeah? We also did similar work with IIT Chennai. Yeah? As you know, Professor Ashok Junjunwala has set up this research park in IIT Chennai. And one of the things that really propelled us to IIT Chennai was for a selfish reason. It was not that, we knew much about IIT Chennai at that time, but we believed that if we had to do good research, yeah, we need diversity of talent. Yeah? And that diversity of talent really propelled us to look at another geographical location like Chennai. And we believed that good science and mathematical prowess exists in IIT Chennai too. And so we used that as a research park as a basis to propel us into IIT Chennai and be a part of that right from the inception of the research park. Yeah? So again, that has also been a very good ground for us to identify and work with faculty and talent in IIT Chennai. And we have been now there since the inception of the research park, we have been there for many, many years now. So I think what you can hear from this is that when we start interactions, we don't want it to be a one-off interaction. We don't want it to be an interaction that probably is short-term and short-term gains are being looked at, but we want it to be a long-term, consistent and mutually beneficial relationship that works with both the IITs and with the institutes. Of course, we have worked with several other IITs, and we have an FM chair professorship in IIT Bombay, which has been there for many, many years again. So I think we have whatever the 10 models that Dr. Rao mentioned. I think every of the model has been deployed in our armory of interaction with IIT Bombay. Every one of the 10 that we have done, we have worked with that. And that really gives us pride and pleasure that our experience with deploying these 10 models has been really good. Yeah? And I think that's really positive. Yeah? I think to me that's really been an excellent way of helping us power our own research in many areas. In fact, a couple of years back when we became institutional members of IIT ACB, Ashok introduced us to IIT Jodhpur, introduced us to IIT Bhubaneswar, and I think we have now started making some progress and defining some projects. It's taken some time, and that's another point that I think Satish mentioned, that agility and timelines are something that we have to work on. I don't complain about timelines too much, because one of the things we have also realized is that if you have to work with academia, don't go for solutions and problems that need solutions urgently or yesterday. Yeah? We have to be patient, and that's very clear because there are different priorities in both, and we have realized very clearly early on that if you have to have a problem, it must contain academic rigor. You can't force a problem on a faculty, and in IITs it doesn't work. We have found that we will have these interactions, and this is my experience, that you have to match your problem with the faculty interest. Yeah? If the faculty is not interested, the director of the IIT tells you to do something, he won't do it. Yeah? So it's very clear that our problem has to match with the faculty, and it's our responsibility to make sure that there is a match there. If it doesn't match, you will not get a solution, it will stagnate. Yeah? So that's one learning that we had, that faculty interests are quite different from what we might have as our problem statement, and therefore it is our responsibility to make sure that the faculty who is interested in that problem is really interested in the problem and not being forced by somebody to work on it. So that's one learning that we came from. The second learning that we had from the IIT experience is that you might set up very expensive labs. Yeah? If we do not have faculty and student engagement in those labs can remain unused. Yeah? And that's one of the areas that I believe, which was there. And I remember I was in Carnegie Mellon a few weeks back, and I mentioned Naushad, who is the owner of the company, that I found in CMU, every lab was spotlessly clean, and I could see students working on those labs. Yeah? And I'm sure many of the IITs also have a similar system. But I think our experience with some of the labs that we have worked with is that the use of those labs is not as much as they should be. Yeah? So I'm sure the IIT directors are also concerned about the assets that they're investing in. But I believe that the deployment of those assets can be much better, and industry also can play a role in deploying those assets more productively. So I believe that this is really an area where the use of the lab, once set up and invested in, should remain powerful engines of innovation and not stagnate and become deadwood in a sense in IIT. So this is not a criticism of IIT. I'm just saying this is a common trait maybe in India, and we could probably make some corrections there, that while making those investments, we as industry and academia need to work really well close together. Yeah? So this is really what our learnings are. There are many more things that I can share, but I'm sure we're short of time. But to kind of summarize the area where we think and the industry is moving towards, as I very clearly mentioned, is sustainability. And we are looking at areas, any research that is in energy efficiency, in the water management, yeah, and in the area of sensors. So we are really going towards sensorization. I think Nandan gave an excellent talk on digitalization, and that's one trend that is changing the way for us. As a company, we always saw ourselves as an energy efficiency company, but maybe there's a redefinition of that. We're looking at sensors for energy efficiency, yeah, or sensors for making smart manufacturing. These are areas which are really going to power our future, and I believe that the kind of work that we are now started talking to many of the other IITs is in that direction. That can we look at how Indian manufacturing can become smart, how artificial intelligence and machine learning can help us get smarter manufacturing systems for our own internal capacity building, and also can the entire sensors be used by our customers to make themselves smarter and increase the overall GDP growth of India. So that's really where we come from. Of course, there are lots of other issues that we can work on, but in a nutshell, I would say that the entire industry, and including Forbes Marshall, is moving towards problems that contain sustainability as a very key change, and digitalization as a key change for the next, I would say, decade at least, I would say, where we would invest a lot of our own research money in many of these problems. I'm sure that we can engage on a one-to-one basis with various IITs and come up with more concrete solutions to what problems we have. But I can tell you that because we interact with a lot of customers, we understand probably, hopefully, customer needs. We could bring out many more problems for you to solve. And that's something that IIT ACB can work with us and with academia and give you some more inputs on this. So I think thank you very much. I look forward to the interactions and continue interaction with all the IITs. Thank you.
We'll call you soon. Okay, thanks for those, I think, wonderful experiences which you had with IIT Bombay. And I think you are also going ahead with newer IITs. We expect more engagement. Next, we have Dr. Kumar Samir Singh from Jubilant. He serves as a Vice President R&D at Jubilant. And his specific interests are in vapor and liquid phase catalytic reactions. And I think for his work, he has won number of innovation and research awards, both within Jubilant and outside. Dr. Singh.
Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to speak great intellectuals, 23 IIT director, and thanks to Professor Mishra to connect industry and academia. I have some points because Jubilant collaboration is with institutions last 20 years. And there are some suggestions we request to Professor Mishra to how to overcome. Because we are engaging last 20 years, we did the collaboration with ICT Mumbai, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, any institute. Sometimes we get the good results, but sometimes there are shortcomings. As Mr. Satish told, fast track. We need fast track. Here we difference with Datta, Professor Datta, because if any industry come to the institution, that solution should become fast track. We can't wait because there is a market competition and we have to reach the market because we have the pressure, there is a China, other country, we are globally competitor. So there are some things, but very quickly about my industry and how we are proceeding that. This is a company overview of Gajraula. Here our chairman and co-chairman. Actually, we are basically in the chemistry, we are doing pharmaceuticals, CDMO, therapeutics, specialty, any type of chemistry, we are doing that which are taking place in India. And we are global presence in India, USA, Canada, Europe, Singapore, China. We have around 2,400 in North America and 4,600 people in India. Here we are working in different fields. You can see nutritional and health solution, chemical intermediates, specialty chemicals. So all type of chemistry we are doing that. And in some of the chemistry we are working that. We have come here with the problem statement also, and we will throw the problem along with all IITs to solve the problem. Before going in detail, the major problem we are facing that the intellectual property right. When we engaged with NCL Pune, there was a huge discussion who will be the right of patent. Because we are investing as a company, we are paying you, so obviously patent holder should be the company. Assignee and inventor should be the faculty member. This is the main problem we are facing during the intellectual property right. Because when we come together with the industry and institute, there is innovation. So how to protect our intellectual property and how the company should be benefited, along with the accommodation, there should be a shortcomings. So some of the specialty chemicals, we are number 2 in pyridine beta, globally number 1 in the 18 products of pyridine derivatives. We are making vitamin B3, worldwide number 2, Lonza is our competitor. And vitamin B4, we are the number 2 in all over world. Acetic anhydride, we are global number 2 in academic, this COVID scenario, there was a huge sale of acetic anhydride. So, along with this, myself, here some patents along with the NCL Pune earlier. And in 2002, that A.V. Ramaswamy and Mr. Rajiv Kumar was there. We have received some CSIR because we are working with CSIR Diamond. So we have received 10 lakh cash award with CSIR with new technology. These are the chemistry. We are doing that. You can see 1,000 metric ton, 100 metric ton, and metric tons. Any type of chemistry, which is, you can say the worldwide, we are doing that. Any type of chemistry. You can help because Jubilant are selling more than, you can say, 75 key raw materials to US, abroad, and other countries. And we are 4 highly qualified scientists, 21 PhDs. We are making cyanopridine, more than 18,000 metric ton. And we are basically the value chain. We are starting the molasses to acetaldehyde, acetaldehyde to pyridine, pyridine to beta-picoline to 3-cyanopridine, 3-cyanopridine to niacinamide, up to the vitamin B3. So you are value chain integrated. Here is the problem statement. Because we are a big company, so effluent, we are generating 500 KL per day effluent in huge quantity. We have the solutions, but at present we are incinerating, which has a high cost. We need a eco-friendly, commercially viable technology. We have several technology, but it should be eco-friendly so that we can exploit them. Because at present we are incinerating, and you are a chemical engineer, you know that for incineration there is a lot of energy involved for incineration. So major problem is the COD, which is 18,000 to 25,000 ppm, and the pyridine is easily not breakable compound. It may be hydrothermal. You engineer can go with better way, because we did a lot of technology: catalytic vapor oxidation, vapor phase oxidation, non-catalytic oxidation, hydrothermal. You can say every technology we have used, but make to it biodegradable. We are also looking for biodegradable. So some parameters, because norms of the government norms are COD less than 250, and how we can recycle this water in our system. This is our challenge, because to throw 500 KL, we are facing problem. So with this problem statement, we want to connect any of you who want to connect me. You are most welcome, and we will go ahead, because this is simple problem. If any chemistry, because there are some, you can say there are some obstacle, because we don't throw so many problems, because there is some company confidential agreement, because if we go in detail, so there are so many norms we have to maintain that. After that, there should be a CDA. With proper CDA, we can come across and sit together to solve our problems. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So thanks, Dr. Singh, for those words. I think one thing which he didn't mention about Jubilant is Jubilant Foods. I think it probably touches our lives every day, as Domino's Pizza and Dunkin' Donuts, which is owned by Jubilant, that's a different company, but I think, it's again under the Jubilant, which is there. Okay. So next I'll invite Mr. Allah Baksh from Infosys. So he's a principal product architect at Strategic Technology Group at Infosys, and has been, I think, known for developing many intellectual property related platforms, and has done wonderful products, including some of the very important products such as Aptamitra, which actually helped during COVID and others.
Uh, no, I don't have a slide. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Rao. Good morning to everyone. It's indeed a privilege to be here and among the 23 IIT directors, right? And as everyone has said, we don't get IIT directors so easily, so it's good to be here. One of the things which we have been doing at Infosys is actually academic relationship, right? And it could be in a different ways. One, we had a program with IIT Bombay called IIT Bombay Monash program where Infosys was involved. And I think this is a PhD program with Monash and IIT Bombay. The programs like this actually help the industry and the academia very well. The second thing, I think recently we have joined the IIT Madras Energy Consortium, which is actually working towards the sustainability, decarbonization and the likes of it. And this is a key area for Infosys because Infosys is known for its sustainability goals. And not only for Infosys, the clients of Infosys, right? So I would actually just talk about a bit about the Infosys and what we do at Strategic Technology Group, and then I will actually see how can we, engage much more with IITs and other organizations. When I say other organization, IITs and the likes of it. So, Infosys is a 16 billion revenue generating company. We are present in almost everywhere. The geography is not limited to India. And in the Infosys, we have a group of 3,000 people, which is called as a Strategic Technology Group. It is headed by the CTO of the Infosys, called Rafi. And as a part of the Strategic Technology Group, we have a mandate to build platforms and products which can scale at the India level or a billion people level. So the likes of GST or likes of the income tax are some of the projects which actually we get involved certain times and then see how it can be scaled. Now, while we interact with the academia, right, the interaction happens in multiple ways. I would say that there are 4 major entities. One, the student, and the students are the real glue between academia and the industry, right? What happens is a student, when he comes and then does internship, not only he carries the knowledge which he has in his institute, but also gain lot of problems which industry is facing, what are the things which they are doing, and then goes back, interacts with his or her professor and figures out, okay, what can be done as a research, right? And this works very well for companies like Infosys or any other company because there is no binding which is there, and 6 months of internship is very, very good to go forward. And we have been running certain internship program for IITs, IITs, and we have been successful in that. One of the things which actually often happens, and my friend actually touched upon it, is the part which is dealing with the IP and how can student continue working on that. And I think we took a very different way to actually interact in this way. We actually picked open source projects likes of MOSIP, which is an identity platform, which is another DPI, where we ask the student to come work with us, contribute to those platforms or those open source projects, build on those open source projects, and they can actually interact even after they leave the company, right? Like, for example, if you want to actually connect and understand what's happening, you can actually directly connect, and there is a knowledge which has been created. So that was one of the way we actually said that, okay, this can work very well. The other thing is the joint PhDs or the PhDs, which is like PM fellowship. Infosys had a few PM fellows who worked with us, and that was a very fruitful experience, I would say, because the student came with certain things in mind. When she saw the plethora of the process data which is there, it was actually mind-boggling. And the tools which were present could not actually solve that problem. So it actually involved working and then industry actually coming along with the academia to figure out what can be done and how knowledge can be created. And that resulted in multiple papers and then patents, obviously. So that is, I think, a student could be a very I would say, entity to work with it. The second thing I think Professor Rao mentioned is the faculty. If a faculty can actually be part of 1 month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, part of the industry, that would actually really help. That will help them to understand what problem we face. Probably there is already a solution which exists and we are not aware of that solution. That is one. Second, they also try to appropriately apply what algorithms, what techniques they have developed or what tools they have in our industry context, and that can help a great way. But this program should be streamlined, right? Right now it happens in pockets. It happened one professor visiting. I think Pankaj Jalote sir was the best person. He actually did work at Infosys, he did work at Microsoft, and that kind of thing actually helps industry to evolve at much faster pace. So this is one. Second part of it is the projects, and these projects should be a long-lived as compared to the short-lived, where industry actually come back and then work with the academia for leveraging their infrastructure, like wind tunnel in IIT Kanpur or some of the fabrication facility or likes of it. So those are one-time projects, right? If they are long-term project where the industry and academia can collaborate, and I think with CSR, as Professor mentioned, that would be a much better thing, where in the context of the CSR, we could build something which is relevant for the entire industry, not for a specific organization which is funding for the CSR, right? So that might help a lot. The third thing which I would like to say that is the interaction at a level of the courses and the programs which we do, right? The like IIT Madras and I think IIT Jodhpur have started specific programs for the industry, right? Master's program in cloud computing and master's program in AI. If we can actually leverage that program and then make it available at different IITs, make it more streamlined, scalable, that would help definitely to the industry, because that will the employees actually will gain much more knowledge. They can apply new techniques and tools to the problems which they are happening, and this is happening in pockets. It's not that we are not doing these things. It are happening in pockets. Can we actually make it more scalable in nature, and can we bring it much better? The on the projects part, the industries, like and Nandan spoke about it, digital public infrastructure has become a big thing. And if we can actually start having students working on projects which involve digital public infrastructure, because instead of building small projects which would be actually an app, basically, if they start contributing to it, it would be great. That's my view, and that can be driven from the faculty itself when they pick the courses which they take, and if it can have some things which are associated with the DPI. That is something which we are trying to do with the IIT Bangalore, with MOSIP, with CDPI, and the likes of it. That are few things. So I would say, to sum it up, collaboration at the program levels, where we could have master's, PhD program with the IITs and much at a scale. Second, collaboration at a student level, where we can actually interact with the students, have a formal internship which happens from the IITs. And I think there is a ONS network which actually gives you a ability to make the student discoverable. So that is the second. And the third, I would say that projects which are at a scale and the industry and academia actually collaborate along with the faculty, where faculty could join the industry as an externship or as a sabbatical and then work with the industry. That's a few things from my side. Thank you.
We will open it for audience also. I think the panelists did mention, the panelists did mention about the opportunities which they had to work with various IITs. I think we also have probably those industries which already have a prior experience of working with IITs. So this is a good example to start. And also they did bring certain pain points, particularly in terms of intellectual property and the lead times to deliver products and solutions, which are also important. So what we'll do is probably we'll go to audience, and since we also have IIT leadership here, if any of the, let's say, IIT leadership, particularly the directors, would like to say few words about increasing industry-institute interaction, or that would be a wonderful. So we'll start with IIT Dharwad.
Yes, Suprabhat and Dhanyavad. That is good morning and thank you for this opportunity. And in fact, let me share my this one because many times many of the industries they are very modest about their achievements. Let me share this one. On 3rd August, I shared a detailed WhatsApp message to our 3G IIT directors group regarding making our campuses under construction that is as eco-friendly as possible. So this was on 3rd August. And on 5th September, I was invited by Tata Motors Dharwad campus, which is just half a kilometer from IIT Dharwad's transit campus. I had very little time because I had an invitation from Karnataka University Dharwad, but still I accepted. I requested them to not to hold me for more than 45 minutes. They agreed. They were very kind enough. And so it was more of an introductory thing on the Teachers' Day. They had their one. Yeah. The next day, I had taken one of our, waterless urinals sales executive of ACOM, an incubated company at IIT Delhi, the sales executive from Bengaluru. He came all the way to Dharwad and along with the sales executive, myself and two of my colleagues in civil and infrastructure engineering, we visited IIT Dharwad. And that day I came to know that Tata Motors campus, 415-acre campus in Dharwad is net zero in water as well as energy. Wonderful. And even though I am yet to complete 1 year in IIT Dharwad, many of my colleagues have completed 4, 5, and even some of very rarely 6 years also. And whoever I talked to them, they were not knowing the fact that Tata Motors is net zero in water as well as energy. Some of them were knowing it is net zero in energy and so like that. So therefore, the thing is, it is not just that, so they are very modest, they are asking for problems. But see, the thing is, we also need to collaborate with them. And the best example is Germany, where there is an excellent collaboration between industry and academia. So we should emulate the best practices. As this one in Rigveda it is said, which is also mentioned in the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan books, that is Ano Bhadra Kratavo Yantu Vishwataha. That means let noble thoughts come from all possible directions. With this I would like to this one.
Thank you. Thank you, I think any suggestion? Yeah, I think Satyanarayana ji.
Yeah. So, some of the points that were touched on in terms of faculty also going into the industry and getting exposure and so on. So I have a couple of points to be placed here. By the way, for those of you who don't know, I'm Satyanarayana, Director of IIT Tirupati, one of the third generation 3G IITs that he talked about. Two things. One is internships for the students. I think the Indian industry, I'm talking in general, there are companies which do a good job of it, do not have properly structured internships, right? So when the students go, especially in the core sector, the manufacturing sector, you send students in for internship and they come back very disappointed, saying that we were given only routine things to do, there's no excitement in the sector, and we lose them, right? They're no more interested in even applying for jobs in that sector. So I think we need to have very structured interviews, and especially in the core sector, we have a few core sector representatives here, where we get them excited when they come for the internship that I want to continue in this sector, right? Rather than move on to the banking sector or the finance sector or the analytics and the IT sector. So I think many of us are working on creating longer internships. Like at IIT Tirupati, now we're trying to enable 6 months internships. As it is, we have the model for 2 months internships, but the industry also keeps telling us, if we want it to be effective, we need at least 4 to 6 months internships. So we are now enabling that this is possible. So the students go do the internships there, come back with a problem to continue for the BTech project, right? And so then we need to get, when you do a BTech project, you need to get a faculty member associated with it. And that's how we create the linkage. And then for you, it is an opportunity to observe a person for 4 months to 6 months before you give a pre-placement offer, rather than a 20-minute interview based on which you make these offers. So that's one thing. The second thing is for the faculty members to go and spend time in the industry. 2 weeks to 2 months duration, right? If we can create this platform, recently we had Professor Joshi from ICT at our, because he happens to be the chairman of ICER, Tirupati, and he was there and he came and had an he's a chemical engineer, he's interacted, and he talked about how ICT has been very successful because their faculty go and spend time in the industry and come back with the problems which they bring to their thing. So again, if we can create a platform for this and use IIT, ACBs and other thing to do this, where we create this linkage and make sure faculty go, and one of the things that you started off, how you evaluate faculty performance and so on. The third area is a lot of funding from the government today for research. They also want to put a lot of emphasis on applied research. And when they do the funding, they say, you bring in 20 to 25% of the funding from the industry, we will give you 80 to 75% of the funding. Now, this is again, recently, for example, we were putting together for this proposal for the SATI, under the SATI scheme, creating an instrumentation, testing and instrumentation facility. And under the SATI scheme, they say you have to bring 25% of the funding from the industry. The government will, DST will give the 75%. So I had to chase a lot of industries. For example, finally we put our proposal together, getting Amar Raja to contribute something, Electro Steel, castings to contribute something, and then Arjak Steel, and a few other industries to come forward. But it required a lot of effort of chasing them, convincing them, and then they go through their corporate rigmarole of clearing this through their legal and so on, saying at least give us a commitment that you will support it if it comes. So that required a lot of chasing to get that commitment till the last day to put it together. So a lot of other research projects also, they ask for about 25% the thing. Now again, if we can enable that, that will be great. So there's a great opportunity here, and I think IIT-ACB can also play a role in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Today.
Respond to his
please.
The internship model, I think industry, I must say, looked at interns as a pair of hands and legs for a long time. But I think many of our companies now have kind of grown out of that. And we believe that, as you mentioned rightly, that interns are a good way of testing the person, and you have a known devil, in a sense, join our company. So I think most good companies now use the internship model as a way of getting recruitment, not direct off campus, but many of the IITs actually, and I must say there's a little bit of barrier there, that they want the students to come through the campus itself. So, there has to be some flexibility there, that if the intern has interned with that company, can he opt directly for a job with that company? Some IITs don't allow for that.
No.
They go to the campus recruitment model, and therefore it becomes a barrier. So I just want to put this point, and we are very keen to recruit off interns from IITs. There could be some flexibility in that model where the intern is allowed to join the company without going to the... Just a point there.
Yeah, I think many of the IITs now do have what is called this pre-placement offer. In case, if you already have an offer, they are not allowed to sit in this campus because you already have an offer through your internship. Sure. And I think more IITs will probably come to that. But I think coming from the institute side, I think 6 months internship is also a big opportunity for institutes, because there is often a complaint that students are not going into core jobs. There are not enough core companies coming for placement. And this could be a wonderful route, because if you do a 6 months internship in a core company, you have a job assurance if you have done well. And also it will promote more students going to the core jobs, could be one. Okay, I think I'll go to first existing Professor Tiwari and then Professor Chaudhary, then I'll come to you. Professor Tiwari. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Institute and industry interaction has been very dear to me. I spent myself 1 year at Kirloskar Electric Company.
Okay.
I am S.S. Murthy, formerly with IIT Delhi, and I am presently a member of the Board of Governors of IIT Dharwad. The thing is that there was a scheme started in IIT Delhi, and I was the first to use that scheme. I spent 1 year at Kirloskar Electric Company in 1985-86. And of course, I spent 3 summers in GE R&D Center. So it's a very important topic. One thing I notice is what we don't do, we discuss. And industry interaction is one such topic. Okay? And I have attended several such interaction events, etc. But now the time has come to do action. And I think the IIT SAB is there. I think IIT SAB, I think we should, here in this forum, we should have an action plan for IIT SAB. We have discussed enough. One thing is, now all the IITs are already there, linked with this. I think what he says, externship or internship, every year each IIT internship must be organized via IIT SAB. And then we should have each IIT must at least depute 2 faculty every summer through IIT SAB efforts. So I think if something concrete happens, then it will be a very useful outcome of this event.
I think.
Now another problem we should reckon with is most of the IIT faculty are not industry savvy. This is a fact. Because the way they are selected, he does a PhD or postdoc, whatever it is, and then joins, and with no industry interaction. And if industry interaction is not there, they don't feel comfort zone with this one. Therefore, as Madhusudan Rao says, he has listed incentive schemes for industry interaction that need to be implemented through IIT Council. See, unless it is mandated, it will not happen. See, I have gone through several selection committee of IIT faculty. In no selection committee, we will ask them about their industry interaction, either in selection or promotion. Therefore, that must be factored in their appraisal system. Only then it will work.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think that we'll just take 2 more. Professor Tiwari wanted to say, and then Professor Chaudhary. I think we'll give it.
Thank you for the opportunity. In fact, I was listening to my friend here. It's good that we are now coming closer, and what the National Education Policy has talked of NRF and what is NSF that is coming from the US. We need to be closer to the industry. The only way is that a organized way, for example, CII, FICCI, and the organizations of industries. This IIT SEB is a good place that was thought of in the beginning as to how we have more collaboration with the IITs and industries. So this is the place where we can think of and having, say, some sort of a workshop, some sort of relationship where people with their problems and with the IITs with their students and faculty. Now, if there is a relationship like this, then we can think of a better correlation between the industries and the academia. Another, see, we do call faculty, the industries to our pre-placement talks as well as the recruitment as well. So at IIT Kharagpur, I think we have the highest number of placements right in the first day itself, I can tell you. So we do have these arrangements. And another thing that we have now at IIT Kharagpur, what we have done is 6 months internship, which we call semester away program. So 1 semester, the student could be there in the industry or anywhere in the world, in any institution. So there are ways by which we have created, but what is more important is how best we come with the targeted problem. I agree with him. He says that the faculty's interest must be matched. But I can tell you that now the industry has to say that this is the result we want. Okay. And result-oriented projects must be given. Okay. Then only it is possible to come closer. Otherwise, we will keep on doing MTech, PhD, etc. And then you will be having your results getting after 3 years or 4 years. But I think the mindset of our faculty has to be set in that direction with the time-bound approach and time-bound deliverables which are to be there. So this way, if you can put, I think, the better way of doing.
Thank you. Professor Chaudhary last, I think, wanted to say something.
Yeah. I just would like to touch upon 2 issues. One is the IP. I think the IP issue was raised, and which is actually a critical factor to be looked at. Because my experience with the IP and negotiating IP on various issues has been that when industry is putting money, that money has to be substantial enough to compensate for the IP generation, because the institute doesn't have right to exploit it subsequently, or there should be a condition of subsequent exploitation when the industry is not using. I think that flexible IP negotiation framework is something very, very important to build closer interaction. Number two is, when you talk about internship and a faculty involvement, see, we are also created a 6 months opportunity. But what we say is that a faculty should get engaged with the industry in that internship project.
Yeah, exactly.
And there then faculty also gets exposure. Yeah. But that's also in many cases industry is not open about it, because obviously when faculty is involved, there also the IP issue comes up. But in these aspects, I think if industry has a flexibility, and IITs, at least new IITs are restructuring and looking at things in new ways, then there can be much closer interaction built up in time.
Yeah. Professor Mishra wanted to say it.
I'll just take 1 second. I'll just take a, sorry.
Yeah. I have thrown my pain area, and I hope that Professor Mishra will resolve this.
Okay, yeah.
So a couple of remarks, because these things have come up, I didn't want to intervene. But I was at IIT Delhi, as Professor Burti was. There was a scheme, and I think most of the IITs have the scheme, that if you take a 1 year and spend it in the industry, you get full pay plus whatever the industry pays you, and you get an extra increment. Very few faculty members know about it or bother to know about it and take advantage of this. So this already exists, and we'll ensure with the IIT system that it is transmitted. Secondly, we have about 8 institutional members. I'm hoping it will grow to 20, 30. So CII is of course very large, but at least with 30 we can start this sort of a program, and we will do it.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think since we are running out of time, came out of this panel is that there is an interest from both the sides, and also there are good opportunities. I think it would be good. I'm sure IIT ACB will probably have maybe more one-day seminars on these engagements, and probably bring Dean R&Ds face-to-face with the industry, kind of a thing. And I think we look forward to more such events, and we want to do. So I'll just, as a last, I think, final round from the panelists, it may be good to listen to you saying that you have already done something for IIT. What is one new thing which you want to do which you haven't done for IITs? Maybe starting from Allah Baksh.
Thank you. So I think joint projects of a larger, like 5 years, 10 years would be good, where we would actually see the results every, year, and then discuss saying that whether it is on track or no. But these projects would actually lead to a lot more this one. I would say not project, I would say it's the program.
Yeah. So that means the action item for you is that probably you will float those to IIT ACB, these projects which are there, and IITs can come on board. Yeah. Any one thing which Jubilant hasn't done and would like to do it in a big way with IITs?
We want to collaborate. We have a number of projects, number of pain area, but basically we have to come together. How to resolve the IP issue and
okay, IP is this thing. Maybe we'll have a separate.
Besides this, there is no end. We can collaborate. We have a number of problems. Okay. We are ready to collaborate.
Thank you.
With this IIT, because we are aware that any problem, if that can be solved with the IIT brain. One of the most, you can say, nobody is in world, the IITians are giving his name. So yeah. I am totally hopeful that but their engagement is not totally with the industry. They are doing some other works. If they are fully, we invite them, they come with the proposal, involve along with the industry. Certainly we will, we request one thing more with Professor Mishra. What, you are aware that what is the industry academia collaboration is China is doing that. China is totally, the university is doing the research, university is totally independent, autonomous, and he is piloting to industry. Yeah. He is piloting to industry. Okay. This type of culture we can bring to the industry and academia.
Yeah, I think regarding IP, Professor Chaudhary gave a very good suggestion. When we go to industry and we negotiate whether IP stays with you or jointly, we give a separate budget for the project.
No. Budget is not constraint. Budget is not constraint.
I think it's giving me ideas. We can have a one-day seminar, workshop between the industry and IIT leaders as to how to deal with IP.
IP, I think this is a good subject.
It's a very universal problem we have to do.
I think for the IP, we should involve the respective intellectual property officers from both the parts.
That's what I said.
I think we'll bring. Please, I think last words from you.
Probably add to a degree of difficulty of IIT ACB. I mean, many of the problems we work with IIT.
Can you keep it closer?
Single faculty working on a single problem. Our dream is that if we can get the interested faculty from different IITs to come together on the same problem and solve it together. Yeah? To me, that's dream achieved in a sense of the IIT ACB team. Yeah? Because what I have found, in fact, in one of the IITs, I'm just extending a little bit, that the faculty in one area did not know what the faculty in the adjacent department was doing in the same IIT. Yeah? So I think there is an element of collaborative engagement that can happen within the IIT itself and across the IITs. And I think as an industry, if we are benefiting from the best brains in that topic and they are willing to collaborate, I think to me it's dream achieved.
I know the time is running out, but just to give you an idea, example, Bharat's Forge wanted a MTech program and it was Masters in MMM, Manufacturing, Mechanical and Modeling. It took some time to get the three departments together, but we did it, so it is possible. They're diverse departments, you know.
Yeah, the commitment I make on this forum is that we shall work closely in generating a portfolio of challenges or portfolio of projects that makes it super exciting for the faculty and the IITians to come and work with Titan. While I say this, there's several of us have to start empathizing with the IIT system so that we understand your language well and we also behave in the way you want us to behave. So that's the commitment I take from this forum.
Yes, same.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think as we already ran out of time, we'll just close with this thing. Morning we saw a platform which is for an engagement. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity. If institute is looking for an industry and industry is looking for interaction, we have now one more, you can say, a platform which is available as IIT ACB. And particularly if you want to do, I don't know, multi-centric projects and multidisciplinary involving more institute, and IIT ACB could be a good platform to do that. And we hope we have more such programs in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rao and our panelists this morning. A lot of takeaways, and we do have another opportunity for a discussion later when our directors and deans are going to be on the panel. With this, thank you very much. It's my pleasant duty to share these little mementos with you.
I have a small suggestion for kind consideration. We should also invite Vicky, ASSOCHAM, and CII as well as the software-based S1 for this ACB, for Professor Mishra for a kind consideration.
So quick announcement, we will take a break for tea now. 12 minutes please, let's be back at 12 sharp.